obviously. It's Baylor at BYU. This is a huge test for both squads. I think in a weird way, you could argue that this game is more important to these two teams than even, let's compare it to the game we just talked about, than a Texas. Obviously, there's emotions involved, and you want to know what you've got with Texas. But if Texas loses to Alabama and they win out the rest of the season, okay, they're in exactly where they want to be, right? I'm not sure that either team, Baylor or BYU, can afford to lose this game and then still potentially reach the college football playoff. BYU's an independent. Baylor ranked number 9 right now. Who knows where this would drop them? I think Baylor has a much more serious shot, if we're being honest with ourselves. Like, this is a team that, to me, can compete in the Big 12 and has those aspirations. BYU as an independent probably needs to run the table as a whole in general. So let's just start there. Hack, from a Baylor perspective, since they're arguably the bigger program, do they need to win this game to make the college football playoff?
I just think it's too early to say any of that. I mean, we watched what happened last year. You know, the Big Ten ended up beating the Big Ten East ended up beating each other up. And, you know, it's way too damn early. Do I think that this, I think you made a great point about both of these teams. Like, whoever comes out on top, it's going to be a huge springboard. But I think the team that doesn't win this game, I don't necessarily think it's the be all end all for them. You know, we'll see. I think you make a great point. I think it's a very overlooked game. I think BYU oftentimes doesn't get a ton of credit if it's just because their games are on at 11:30 at night here on the East Coast and not a lot of people are watching it. But they're a damn good football team, returning 8 starters on offense, 9 on defense. Jaron Hall, their quarterback, is a really dynamic player. You know, the one game I did catch last year was against UVA, and that was a shootout. I think there was like 125 points scored in that game. So, you know, I think it's great, but I think Baylor is poised. They kind of were in the hunt last year towards the end of the year, the way things shook out. So it'll be a good one to get under their belt to carry into the Big 12 play.
Yeah, look, I think both of these teams, I think this is you kill national championship vibes around your program if you lose this football game, no question about it. I think that goes without saying ultimately, but I love the matchup, guys, because you got BYU, who, as you said, Hack, returns, I think it's actually 20 starters if you count the specialists.
Yeah.
I mean, and you got a team that went out there and threw for 260 and ran for 3-something last week against a South Florida football team that, again, South Florida's one of them squads that, call them what you want, but I know they got some horses in the stables now. For BYU to be able to do that, they got my attention. Now, I think that the story of the game is Dave Aranda's squad. This is a big-time challenge. You win this game and you put a convincing product on the field, I think you get folks' attention to be a legit, not just preseason top 10 and Big 12. There's a lot of movement in the Big 12, and you're the stable program out of the big dogs that are out there right now. I think if Baylor wins this game convincingly, I think it is definitely a feather in their cap in a big, big way on a national scale in terms of the top 10 ranking. I got Oklahoma State winning the Big 12, but I'll be honest with you, Baylor, I need to see more, obviously. I love Blake Shapen, by the way. I love their quarterback. But we'll see. I think it's a big time challenge for Baylor.
Yeah, Shapen, to your point, was great in game 1, 17 for 20 on attempts, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. And Baylor, a team last year extremely close, finished 5th in the AP poll, Sugar Bowl. Like, they've had a taste of, oh my goodness, we were right on the edge of the pinnacle of college football. They don't return as much as BYU does. I don't think any team in the country damn near returns as much as BYU does, to your guys' point. But to me, that might be something that at least mentally is a driver for Baylor in this game, for those that are returning and anyone that's been around this program. Yeah, go ahead.
Quick question, though, man. Just curious. Y'all buying that? How do you feel about, you just talked about Baylor finishing up 5th in the AP. And look, end of the season, proof's in the pudding. I'm with you. I'm not banging Baylor. I'm just saying I don't know that I watched the top 10 program last year when I watched Baylor.
I'm buying Dave Aranda is what I'm buying. And do I think that translates to a team that can actually make the playoff this season? No, I do not, to be honest with you. But I'm buying him as a guy who can and probably should win 10 games almost every year when he's got the dudes that he has, at least on this roster. Like you said, I like Shapen a lot. So I'm not surprised. I'm with you. Actually, preseason, Oklahoma State was my Big 12 pick. I had Baylor right there as well. I gave both of those out on our best bets season preview because I don't think Oklahoma or Texas are going to win this conference. I think it's one of these two teams. But Baylor, to me, I do think it's an added push to win this game, right? This, to me, is the type of game that it's not going to derail your season. But if you can get over the hump and say we're 2-0 with a road win against a top 25 team early in the year, well, maybe that reinforces, oh, yeah, we are those dudes. We were there last year. We can really do this in a way that, oh, shit, we're 1-1 and we can't lose another game the rest of the year. Gets everybody on edge a little bit.
Let me clarify, too. I think it's if you want to control your own destiny as a Baylor football team, if you want to control your own destiny, then, yes, this is a must win. But at the end of the day, like I said, I think you're going to need some help after this, but if you want to control your own destiny, yeah. And to your point, if you're building a culture like Aranda's trying to do down there, this would be a big one for you.
Massive.